Kingambit, a Pokémon literally no one asked for. If you didn't know, Kingambit was recently added to the game as an evolution of Bisharp, a Pokémon that was already very strong. So naturally, Game Freak looked at that and decided it absolutely 100% needed an evolution. Kingambit is an absolute monster, and it's easily one of the best and most used Pokémon in Champions. If you don't have one yet, first of all, what are you even doing? And also, you should stick around since I'll be giving away a very special shiny Kingambit at the end of this video to a lucky viewer. Anyway, let's discuss how to actually use Kingambit. In this video, I'll go over Kingambit's best moves, abilities, items, stat spreads, and teammates in the official competitive doubles format in Pokémon Champions. Let's get started. Kingambit is a Dark and Steel type, easily one of the best offensive and defensive typings in the game. It boasts an incredible 9 resistances and 2 immunities, leaving it with only 3 weaknesses: Fire, Ground, and a double weakness to Fighting. Kingambit's stats are just as impressive. With a massive base 135 attack backed by excellent natural bulk, it can take a lot of hits and fire back with devastating damage. Base 50 speed is very low, but that's honestly more of a blessing than a curse. The low speed makes Kingambit excellent under Trick Room, and even outside of Trick Room, Kingambit can always use Sucker Punch, a powerful priority move that allows it to strike first against faster Pokémon. Of course, Kingambit's stats are only half the story. Its abilities are also some of the best in the game. Kingambit has access to 3 abilities: Pressure, Defiant, and Supreme Overlord. Pressure forces the opponent to consume 2 PP instead of 1 when they target Kingambit with a move. While that can occasionally be useful on the right Pokémon in very long battles, it provides almost no value to Kingambit and is completely outclassed by its other abilities. Supreme Overlord is Kingambit's signature ability. For every fainted teammate, Supreme Overlord boosts Kingambit's attack by 10%. This turns Kingambit into an incredible late-game cleaner in singles formats with Sword Stance. In doubles, however, Defiant is always the better choice. This ability raises Kingambit's attack by 2 stages whenever one of its stats is lowered by the opponent. Intimidate, as we all know, is one of the most common abilities in Pokémon Champions, since it can weaken physical attackers by dropping their attack. But Defiant Kingambit ends up getting an attack boost instead. Defiant is also activated if the opponent uses moves like Icy Wind and Snarl, which are some commonly used supportive moves. So yeah, moral of the story is to always go for Defiant if you're playing doubles. Now let's talk about Kingambit's moveset. There are 2 moves that should be on every Kingambit. The first one is Kowtow Cleave. Kowtow Cleave is Kingambit's signature move. It's an 85 base power dark type attack that never misses, making it a very strong and reliable move that you'll be clicking in almost every battle. The second mandatory move is Sucker Punch. As we discussed earlier, Kingambit's low speed would normally be a major drawback if not for Sucker Punch solving that problem. It's a powerful priority move that allows Kingambit to pick off faster threats, though be aware that it will fail if the target isn't about to use a damage-dealing move. The third move on Kingambit should almost always be Protect. Protect is one of the best moves in doubles because it allows you to scout what the opponent does, stall out field effects such as Tailwind and Trick Room, and avoid being double targeted. The only Kingambit that can afford to drop Protect is Focus Sash Kingambit, which will sometimes run an all-out attacking set instead, but even then most Focus Sash Kingambit will still run Protect. In any case, this leaves us with one final move slot. My personal favorite for the last slot is Sword Stance. Kingambit naturally forces a lot of switches, and if your opponent tries to play passively or for example spends a turn setting up Trick Room, Sword Stance can allow Kingambit to punish that passivity by doubling its attack. Low Kick is another good option, mainly for opposing Kingambit. It's a clean one-hit knockout unless they're holding a Jopple Berry. It also does some heavy damage to Incineroar, which is always nice for a Pokémon with Defiant. Finally, there's Iron Head, which gives Kingambit a way to threaten popular fairy types such as Mega Floette, Whimsicott, and Sylveon, all of which take little damage from Kingambit's Dark-type moves. Personally, I'd recommend Sword Stance or Iron Head on most teams in the current meta, but all 3 options are perfectly viable depending on what your team needs. As for items, I'd recommend the Black Glasses most often. It boosts the power of Kingambit's Dark-type moves by 20%. Since you'll be clicking these two moves most of the time anyway, Black Glasses offers a lot of value with essentially no downside. However, there are a few other options as well. Choppleberry halves the damage of the first fighting type move that Kingambit takes, giving it a way around its quadruple weakness. Berry does the same for fire type attacks, which can be very useful against Pokemon like Mega Charizard Y and Mega Pyroar. Focus Sash is another solid choice, especially on more offensive teams because it guarantees that Kingambit survives at least one hit if it has a full health bar, which can allow it one extra opportunity to throw out that sucker punch. One final item worth mentioning is Assault Vest. The Assault Vest isn't available in Pokémon Champions at the time of recording, but it's historically been one of the best items since it can patch up Kingambit's relatively low special defense. So if you're watching this in the future and Assault Vest has been added to the game, it is absolutely an item you should consider. In terms of natures and stat points, we can be very quick. Kingambit should almost always be maximum HP and attack with an adamant nature. However, there are 3 alternative spreads worth considering. 11 points in speed to outpace Incineroar and hit it with low kick, 16 points in defense to survive close combat from Sneasler with a Choppleberry, and 9 points in special defense with 30 points in HP to survive a Weather Ball from Mega Charizard Y if holding the Berry. If you're running Kingambit on Trick Room, you could also choose to minimize its speed by running a Brave Nature, but this is fairly unnecessary since Kingambit is already very slow. If you're running Focus Sash Kingambit, you also have the option to run maximum attack and speed instead. This would allow Kingambit to outspeed a lot of things it otherwise couldn't and take the opponent by surprise. Alright, finally, let's talk about teammates. The first thing you want to cover is of course Kingambit's quadruple weakness to fighting types like Sneasler, which is one of the most popular Pokemon in the game. Basculegion, Mega Frostless, and Mega Gengar are completely immune to fighting and therefore some of the best offensive partners for Kingambit. Mega Gengar is particularly useful if you're not running Iron Head on your Kingambit and therefore don't have a way to hit Fairy types. Mega Gengar can easily get rid of these Fairy types with Stab Sludge Bomb. Sneasler itself is another poison type that can fill a similar role with Dire Claw, while also putting a lot of pressure on Incineroar, which resists all of Kingambit's moves apart from Low Kick. If you're looking for a more supportive partner that can cover the weakness to fighting types, Sinistcha is a great option. Rage Powder can redirect fighting type moves away from Kingambit and even allow it to set up a sword stance. Sinistcha can also switch into ground types like Garchomp and Mega Swampert, which is another one of Kingambit's weaknesses. Speaking of ground types, Garchomp is another excellent teammate. It covers Kingambit's weakness to fire while threatening those same fire types with Earthquake or Rock Slide. Basculegion also deserves another mention here since it can do the very same as a water type. You could also consider Aerodactyl. Besides checking fire types and being immune to ground, Aerodactyl can also provide tailwind support and threaten Sneasler with a fast dual wing beat. If you're looking for a Pokemon that can cover all 3 of Kingambit's weaknesses, look no further than Mega Charizard Y, one of the best Pokemon in the entire game. And finally, don't forget about Trick Room, which Kingambit thrives under thanks to its abysmally low speed. Sinistcha and Farigiraf are both great Trick Room setters, and as an added bonus, they can both match up extremely well into Sneasler. The nice thing about Kingambit is that it doesn't require a specific team to succeed. As long as you pair it with Pokemon that can cover its weaknesses, Kingambit will always pull its weight. And that is it for Kingambit. If you have any questions, as always, please let me know in the comments. I am always happy to help out. And as promised, I will be giving away this very special shiny Kingambit all the way from Unova. It's completely battle ready, so all you need to do is transfer this bad boy up to Pokémon Champions and you're good to go. You will need Pokémon Home for this giveaway. If you don't have it, it is free to download on the App Store or Google Play Store. And you'll also need to have a spare Pokémon that you can trade away, and this can be any Pokémon. So what you'll need to do is boot up Pokémon Home, swipe left and click GTS. Then you need to click Deposit Pokémon, choose the spare Pokémon that you want to deposit, type in Kingambit, set the gender to female, level 91 to 100, set the language to English, and then click on Continue with these conditions, which will deposit your Pokémon into the GTS. After you've done that, I want you to comment down below your trainer name in Pokémon Home and which Pokemon you chose to deposit. And that's all, you're now entered into the giveaway. I'll choose a winner after exactly 1 week by replying to their comment. Good luck, and as always, thanks for watching.